Hey guys, how's it going? So today's video theme is faith in planting, because what I'm about to show you, the plants that we're going to be putting in the ground today, most of them look pretty darn rough. Some of them I have had since last season in their containers. Some of them went through, you know, that 2 months of 100+ degree heat and did not like it, and their leaves are all burned. Some of them just need to be cut back for the year so they can come back fresh in the spring. They look like, most of them look like plants you would find on the clearance rack right now. Also, you will notice I am in the studio right now because it is windy out. The sun is shining, so it's beautiful, but it is windy and pretty chilly, and I thought, you know what, let's just wheel a gator right in here and I'll show you all the plants kind of in the peace and stillness of the studio. And this is what we're working with today. Let's just talk about the elephant in the room first. This is a Heptacodium right here. It's called Temple of Bloom. In fact, you can see some of its pinkish red blooms right here. This poor thing, first of all, I've had it in a container since last spring. That is like a huge no-no for some things, especially things like this. I mean, you can see just how root bound this plant is. I fully expect for it to recover and do fine next year. It just needs to be out of its can so bad. So maybe we can put some pictures up on the screen, but the Temple of Bloom Heptacodium, I had a Heptacodium in our last garden. It was not this variety. I don't even know what variety it was, but it performed so well. So this one grows 6 to 10 feet tall and wide. And the red bloom thing that I showed you is not actually a bloom, that's a bract, which holds the bloom on. So the blooms are actually white. And then once the blooms fall off, then they have these sprays of red bracts, which looks like a second bloom show, which is amazing. They also start blooming around August. So when other things are starting to peter out, this one is just starting to come into its own, which is really fun. I love the peely looking bark too, so it's got really good winter interest. It also attracts all the pollinators and the blooms are fragrant. So I'm really excited to see how this one does. Right below that, I've got 5 Yarrow, which don't look bad at all. I mean, this is what their leaves look like. Of course, you know, we've cut down spent bloom stalks, but this is the Firefly Peach Sky, which I have showed you before because I have this in another area of my garden by the large Hebe statue. I've got a nice stand of it. Grows 36 inches tall. Beautiful, gorgeous blooms. In fact, the ones I have out in our landscape, I never cut back. And you can shear them back mid-season after their first bloom to encourage more blooming. But I find that the blooms, even when they're dry, are beautiful. I love to cut them for arrangements. I like the way it makes the plant look, and they still bloom for me pretty nicely. So they always seem to be in a constant state of flower and interest. They're also a zone 3 through 8 and incredibly tough and adaptable to our high pH, which I appreciate. Next we have an Amsonia called String Theory. This one's new for next year, and this is a super not great representation. Like, this is about ready to be cut back for the season. But I love the kind of needle-like leaves on this one. It gives it a very fine kind of feathery texture. And then puffs of blue, periwinkle blue blooms in the spring. Grows about 22 inches tall, up to 3 feet wide. It's resistant to deer, and it is a zone 4 through 9. Around this side, we have a Firelight Hydrangea, which I have in several other areas of our landscape. So look at that, look at that. This one looks good. Like, I have no complaints about the way this hydrangea looks. It's gorgeous. So you can see right here, zones 3 through 8, 4.5 to 6 feet tall and wide. When their blooms come out, they are kind of a white, creamy white, and then they age. As the season goes on, they age to this beautiful pink backed with chartreuse. Love this plant. Right behind that, we have Ekabekia, which look great. I actually bought these for fall containers, not realizing they are a mix between Echinacea and Rudbeckia. So they have the Rudbeckia shaped blooms with the Echinacea hardiness. Like, they're a zone 5 through 8 or 5 through 9, I think. And so I used some in containers, which I'm going to take out and plant in the landscape, but I had 4 left over that I want to plant and just see how they do. Very intrigued because I love a lot of the Rudbeckias that are not hardy here. So to have something like this that has that Rudbeckia shape is awesome. I mean, we can grow the standard, you know, Black-Eyed Susan, that sort of thing, but some of the specialty ones like Cherry Brandy, there's a whole bunch that I grow from seed for our cut flower garden. They are just like marginal. They typically don't survive because they're like a zone 6 or 7, and we're just a little bit too harsh for that usually. Not really sure how to get to the other side except for just climbing through here. So we've got the Totem pole Panicum. We've already planted some of these. In fact, we planted them in a video, so I won't spend very much time on these, other than the fact that they get tall. 72 inches tall, beautiful vertical statement in the garden. And I love the bluish green leaves in season, and then they get this beautiful, like the other ones outside have a little bit of red tinge and orange tinge to the leaves. Really pretty. And the last perennial in here actually has a few flowers. It looks so bad. Oh, this just needs to be cut back. But this one's called Opening Act Romance, type of phlox. It grows 22 inches tall. Can't remember all the details on this one. 36-inch spacing, zone 4 through 8. Early blooming phlox, and apparently acts different in containers because it's blooming now as well. Oh no, it says blooms early summer through late summer. It does talk about how the flowers, which these are kind of aged, but the flowers have kind of a white halo on the inside. They're really beautiful. I think it'd be pretty to have some really beautiful masses of color out there like that bright color. Okay, so Aaron said he's gonna come out and help me. We are gonna head out to the south garden, find spots for all of these, and then I'll do my best to walk you around in between wind gusts to show you where they all ended up. It's just one of those days where you don't wanna waste it because it's not raining or anything like that. It's still beautifully sunny, and we wanna get them in the ground before it gets too cold. And you know, you might hear the like rule of thumb is to plant things at least 6 weeks before your first hard frost. I think that is the least risky way of doing something and letting your plants have a chance to root in and things, but planting is just our life. We plant as long as we can dig a hole. I feel like our plants will do much better out in the landscape than in a nursery container, because that's even riskier trying to winter something over. Anyway, I'm still gonna use Biotone starter fertilizer, and I think that's all. So let's head out and get this done.
Ready to do this thing?
I am. Are you?
I was born ready.
I'm thinking the grasses, maybe.
Just pop them right there somewhere?
I guess so.
Okay.
Okay, so here's the first grouping. This is what we started with, the Heptacodium right here. I think that'll be beautiful. We are planning on really filling this whole area in with bigger things, so big lilacs, forsythias, evergreens, things like that all in this area. So I think that this will be a really good complement, because I didn't really want to put an evergreen really close to that one. I wanted something different, so it'll be nice that this is something that blooms later in the season. And then the totem pole grasses right there. I think that'll be a really, well, it already is kind of a statement. It looks really pretty and really good color and textural difference right here. As we go into this area, I wanted to stop quick and kind of give these Firelight Tidbits in particular some praise, because these are a fairly new one here. Were they new this year, last year? Anyway, they stay on the small side, and we planted these out when it was super hot. In fact, Aaron and I, it was probably one of the most difficult videos we did all summer. I mean, it was weird. Anyway, they have really held up to tons of wind, full day sun, just kind of horrific circumstances. That's the word I'm looking for. Anyway, the blooms still look pretty. They're half brown, but I expected them to be completely brown. So I'm really happy with how they did. The denim and lace has really filled in already as well. Tuscan Sun Heliopsis. This is the red bud I transplanted. Just about lost it when I tried to transplant that tree. We've got some Apache Rose Panicum here. There's a Summer Wine 9 bark. Whole bunch of stuff. Anyway, here's the phlox. So we've got some Price's White Echinacea, which are looking a little tired, but that'll be a beautiful big drift of white late summer color. It'll be nice to have something pink, because these are pink too right here. So we've got bright pink. Cannot remember what those are called. It's evading my brain right now. I might think of it. If we think of it, I'll put it on the screen. Anyway, they're bright pink blooms, so it'll be nice to have some pink right here too. And then I do need to work on filling this area in. We left this open because I'm going to come in with a pallet walkway and go through this area. So we put the Firelight Hydrangea right here, and then the Amsonia is kind of around it. And there is room behind these sedums. I wanted to do something maybe more Russian sage right in here, just a big drift in front of this hibiscus. Okay, now we need to go over here. So you can kind of see the plants right here. I decided to bring both the Yarrow and the Ekabekia over to this side because they're both very much more so in the warm color palette. So we have a Summer Wine 9 bark here, some Desert Plains Pennisetum in this area right there. And here there's some Baptisia we planted right in there. I think this is Blue Bubbly maybe. Anyway, there's the Yarrow in a drift there, so it'll just be a nice big color block, that peachy color. And then the Ekabekia. Now, I realized kind of halfway through planting that see that sprinkler right there? The edge of this flower bed is actually way far in here. So like I'm going to be edging this here pretty soon, and it's going to come way in. So there's quite a bit of space, and I thought, you know, I've got some more of these Ekabekias in containers that I wanted to add to this mix, which I will. I'll plant them out here and we'll see how these do. If they survive our winter and come back strong, I'm gonna see if I can order a bunch and do a huge drift of them and just almost maybe fill in to the edge of this walkway. I think that would be so striking. The edging needs to happen. I just kind of try not to focus on that too much. It's gonna be such a big job, you guys. It's kind of like mulching though, incredibly satisfying to do. Hard work, both jobs, but incredibly tangible. Like you see such a striking difference between when you start and when you finish those sorts of jobs. So that's gonna happen fairly soon. So I think that's gonna be it for today, you guys. Sorry if this video is a little bit shorter. It's just so darn windy today. Right now it's kind of calmer than it's been all day, but it keeps doing that. Like it'll be calm for 5 minutes and then it'll just start gusting. Anyway, yeah, I usually like just to do a little bit on days like that so I can still feel like I'm getting something done, but then I'll go inside. And I'm right in the middle of organizing our pantry right now, and it's taking me like 4 weeks. I think I'm on week 4. Anyway, maybe I should go make myself finish that job. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and we will see you in the next video. Bye.